Hey guys, and welcome to episode 2 of my show. A fair warning that this could be a bit of a long episode today, as I want to talk quite a bit about Friday's Ready Upstream and the Stronghold preview. As I'm sure you all remember, I did go over this briefly after the trailers and article were released last week, but now we have an entire walkthrough with Hugh Norfolk and Grouch on Friday's Ready Up. So, first things first, with the launch of Stronghold we'll initially get one map entitled Battle of Champions Dusk, and it's entirely themed around pirates versus knights. Now, I hope there are more maps in the future, but starting with one keeps it simple for everyone in terms of learning the new mechanics and the new playstyle. I won't cover everything in this video, but here are my top 5 things that I took away from the livestream. Supply. So everyone starts the match with one supply, indicated by a little barrel icon above your head. This allows your team some freedom in opening up in terms of strategy, as you're immediately able to spawn NPCs if you want to, rather than having no supply, which would result in an immediate massive brawl at the supply depot as everyone rushed to try and get that supply first. You can only carry around 2 supply via channeling the buffs, but you can pick up an extra 3rd supply by killing an enemy player who has supply on them. Once cleaved or stomped out, the enemy will then drop 1 supply at their feet for anyone to pick up, although it is important to note that regardless of whether the enemy has 1 or 2 supply on them, only 1 supply will ever become available to you. At the supply depot, channeling for it takes 2 seconds and can only be interrupted by downing or CC and not through direct damage. NPCs. So we've got 2 types of spawnable NPCs. These are known as archers and door breakers. Now the door breakers basically do exactly what they say on the tin. They are little script bombers that do nothing but try to place their explosives at the gate to damage doors. They will not attack players or other NPCs, and they can be one-shot by the gate guards. However, if left free to attack a gate, they'll do around 10% damage per hit, taking gates down with relative ease. Archers, on the other hand, do a tiny amount of damage to the gate, but they do a lot of damage to the gate guards. They do around 25% per hit to the gate guards and are able to take a pretty decent beating before dying. They can aggro players, but they do very little damage when they do so. The difference these 2 provide should leave players to try and spawn a healthy blend of both door breakers and archers. The biggest concern though is if it turns out to just be more efficient to take out the guards at the gate yourself as a player. We can still damage the NPCs, and as such would it just be better to ridiculously spam door breakers and then take out the guards yourself, thereby nullifying the need for archers. I should also quickly note that in the defense of your own gates, the spawnable NPCs are vulnerable to all attacks. They can be blinded, CC'd, or probably most efficient of all, outright killed by players. Now, let's let Josh quickly explain how NPCs function.
Essentially, the NPCs kind of play like a downgrade role on the map, right? Like, they serve a purpose, and that's to push across the map and help you progress towards, but really when it comes down to the combat and actually engaging players and whatnot, like, the focus is going to be 100% on those players and not so much on the NPCs here.
Heroes and Lords. To spawn a hero, you have to channel a buff that is a bit like Tranquility from Temple of the Silent Storm, for those of you who already play PvP. It's a 10-second channel and can only be interrupted by CC or death. Before the channel spot spawns, there is a 30-second window with map pinging to show you where that channel will be. Both teams use the same channel to spawn their hero, and it really is a case of who can get there first or who can win the fight. So again, this is another case of tactics. Do we push for the hero and fight there, or do we let them take the channel and just focus the hero down? The hero is a moderately powerful NPC until he reaches the Lord Room. That is where he really starts doing his damage. He's a power-up style attack that does about 25% health to all enemy NPCs and knocks them all down. This can really disrupt your attempt to defend the Lord, and means if your Lord gate is open, letting the enemy team have the hero channel uncontested is probably not a good idea. Now, the heroes are brought in to empower players, but not replace them. Once spawned, they rush straight to your last objective, ignoring absolutely anything else on the way. This means if enemies engage them as they're rushing to the Lord Room, for example, they will not attack back and they will just continue running until they reach that end goal. The heroes give a buff to anyone stood within their radius. It's called Hero's Presence. This buff gives 50% damage reduction and 50% condi duration reduction. This means that if any teamfight breaks out around the hero, teams are going to have to focus him down first before being able to take out the enemy players. And finally, just a quick note about the Lord. He has a down state. This means you can use your defensive utilities like Nature Spirit and War Banner to res your Lord and keep the defending alive. This means the attacking team has to actually cleave out or stomp your Lord for the victory. That opens the door for some clutch defense. Timer and score. A ArenaNet have decided that they want to keep the feel of relatively short, snappy games, and as such there is still currently a 15-minute time window, subject to change, in which to attempt to kill the enemy lord. If the game does happen to time out, the team with the highest score will win. You will receive score from most things in the game. Killing players, spawning heroes, taking out gates, taking out the non-spawnable NPCs, all of these give points. Player roles. This, in my opinion, is the most exciting part of this stream. Watching this and just considering all the different potential roles a team could have and considering what classes might be best at them is incredibly exciting. For instance, it sounds like Stronghold might bring Death Guards back into a meta role with what ANET have dubbed the Shepherd's role, supporting the spawned NPCs and keeping them alive and moving them towards the gate. Another notable role that Hugh mentioned and correctly dubbed disgusting is a perma-stealth thief. You could use them in so many ways. You could use them to ferry supply backwards and forwards. You can use them to stealth your NPCs in order to get them to the gates quicker and with less hassle. And I'm sure we'll find out that stealth comes in handy in many other situations too. There'll be plenty of other roles too, whether you want to man the treb, or whether you want to harass the enemy team, disrupt their supply, play all out aggressive. Every role will have something for you, and that sounds exactly like what we need. More build diversity. Different strategies and different ways of playing will all have their own levels of effectiveness. It'll be very interesting to see just how long it takes for this community to decide on a meta style of play and a meta composition. I do, however, have one negative argument, and right now it is a big one. According to the Ready Up, the devs are currently planning on putting Stronghold in the same queue as Conquest, and to be frank, that's stupid. I mean, why? Why would they make this decision? There are going to be players that only want to play Conquest and those that only want to play Stronghold, and you are going to see a wave of people leaving games when they don't get the mode that they set out to play. And on top of that, builds are pretty locked in Conquest. In Stronghold, it sounds like you're going to need a whole slew of different builds, and unless you're ridiculously quick at swapping your build around, you're going to get stuck on a build that might well not be very useful. And vice versa, if you build for a Stronghold and get a Conquest map, you're definitely going to be useless. Now, no one's even played this yet, and they still have plenty of time to change their mind. Reddit and the forums both blew up with this news, and let's just hope that the devs listen and build a different queue because it really needs it. Hey! Hey you, get out of my frame, I'm trying to shoot here. God, stay away, goddammit. And now it's time to get on to the real PvP. We had a really strong lineup this week on Thursday's Weekly Cup, with the Civilized Gentlemen making their first appearance since their defeat at the World Tournament Series qualifiers. Joining them were other top teams such as Orange Logo, 55 HP Monks and Evil Ganuniuses. A quick note about TCG in this tournament. They were actually playing with two of the top North American players as well, with Noskok of the Abjured and Tarsis, previously of Apex, both making an appearance for TCG. Another quick note is that Tarsis is, as far as I can tell anyway, the father of the Shalbo Warrior build. He was playing in many major North American tournaments months before Ron picked it up and brought it to the forefront of EU play. He doesn't get the credit he deserves, and I think that's uncool. So Tarsis, thanks for the build. It was another strong tournament as well, with the French team Evil Ganuniuses picking up the victory. Hold your horses, I hear you cry. In a tournament with the Civilized Gentlemen, Orange Logo and 55 HP Monks in it, EG won. Yes, they did. They even had to take up 55 HP Monks and then TCG on their way to victory. The final between TCG and EG was a tense 3-game affair, with each teams trading comfortable victories before EG ran out victors on the Battle of Kylo, netting themselves 2,000 gems each. EG really are announcing themselves with a bang lately. After winning the Go 4 Cup just a couple of weeks ago, they've now taken a Weekly Cup as well. It's a real shame that they won't be able to compete with their current roster for the WTS EU qualifiers, due to not meeting all of the requirements. Once they both won their quarterfinals, I was really excited to see TCG versus Orange Logo in the semis. It didn't quite work out as awesome as I'd hoped though, with Orange Logo seemingly not taking the event entirely seriously, letting TCG run out comfortable 2-0 victors. Jebro even nicknamed this cup the Casual Cup, and this was a prime example of why. Ron was drinking, playing a Power Ranger, and you could tell Orange Logo weren't necessarily taking this as seriously as they could have. They did, however, take Sunday seriously. We had the Go For Weekly Cup, and unlike Thursday, Orange Logo turned up, played seriously, and took home the €400 after they beat 55 HP Monks 2-1 in the final. It was an afternoon full of great games for Orange Logo, who put on a ridiculously great semi-final against Evil Ganuniuses. After causing EG to call GG in Game 1 with Orange Logo up 300 points, EG changed their comp, brought Hibify back on an off-guard, and won an intense match 500 to 443 on Legacy. This sent the two into Game 3 and another ridiculously tight match that this time swung 500 to 439 in favour of Orange Logo, sending them into the finals. Orange Logo, who were making a habit of this, then had to come from one game down to beat 55 HP Monks, who were finally again looking something nearer their best. They even had to come back from more than a 100-point deficit in the third game on Kylo, and they just about managed to hold on to a tight lead to win by the slimmest of margins. And finally, I'd like to talk a little bit about our amateur tournament organised and ran by Denied, Bellabong, myself and a number of others. After a very successful beta tournament, we put on our first ever official Tournament of the Gods, and it went really well. Again, thank you to all of those who helped out. Helseth, Guild News, Guild Mag for supporting our prize pool, plus Jebro and Chronic for helping me with my stream information, and of course Same Ash for casting with me. And last of all, thanks to everyone who came and watched. We had a great turnout with 7 out of our 8 teams signing in on time, and the games were all really close. We had Baby Soup run out eventual winners, beating No Girlfriend playing esports instead in the semi-finals, and Otis team in the final, netting themselves 150G between them. Otis took home 100G between them, and No Girlfriend beat Neuro Emphatic in the third place match and took home 50G. The final even featured Baby Soup swapping to play a double Thief comp directly to counter the Thief and Mesmer combo brought by Otis team. It worked as well, with the two Thieves keeping Little Alinea and Arcana Shadows of Otis team totally neutralized while on Forest. Going into Legacy, an Otis team swapped some things out. Little Alinea swapped onto an NG, and Chaiton swapped from Death Guard to Off Guard. This was an intense game, with Otis team racing into a 100-point lead after an incredible start, but Baby Soup regrouped, recovered, and came storming back to take the match and the tournament. Now, our next tournament is on the 28th of February. I'll link to the sign up page in the description, and we really would like to see more and more new teams sign up. Thank you all very much for watching. I've been Brunners, and I'll see you all next week.